Reading your opponents is a huge part of strategy that can single-handedly win rounds. Today, we're going to talk about how you can use rushes to read your opponents more reliably than just guesswork so that you can win rounds and games. I used this strategy to have a flawless attacking half and game on my first try, and it worked so well that we took site with all players on both teams alive. Twice. Hopefully this video will help you achieve similar results. Hello everyone, my name is @Chax and this is my guide to rushing. To understand how to rush, you need to understand what the goals are. Predicting your opponent is not about guessing what they are going to do. It's better if you can guide them in the direction you want them to go. To help you understand, we're going to look at that game and I'm going to break down my thought process while I walk you through that same round and you can see it play out and know what to look for. My strategy in this game was to lead the opponents into thinking they were one step ahead when they were actually 2 steps behind. For context, in this game I had 2 friends in my party and 2 randoms. I was strat-calling the whole game, and my aim was also pretty slow, although not terribly inaccurate, so you'll probably be much more effective with better aim. I don't get into the serious outplaying until I've established the foundation and the opponent's expectations, so the first 2 breakdowns talk about that, and then I get into the complicated stuff. Alright, let's get started. In the opening round of the game, there isn't much to explain, so I'm hopping right into the walkthrough. I mentioned I like to open with the default most of the time, in the first episode of this series. The rush is my other common opening because I want to see how reactive their rotates are. It will often let me know how well feints will work. Similar to the default, the way I play the rush is designed to confuse my opponents and make them second guess whether to rotate or not. But more importantly, I can draw the rotates, and I do a lot of that in this game moving forward. Of course, this is the first round, so none of that comes into play here. In the first round, there is nothing complicated. I just want to create the association that immediate A smokes means that we will immediately rush A. It's just a direct rush, and it happens to work here, as you can see from the gameplay. In the end of the round, I stack up with my teammate, and he enters the site and gets the frag. The next round that we rush A is round 4. This round is all about cementing their expectations, so I don't do anything crazy. And it works too, the rush, despite the fact that I missed one of my smokes. It's important to coordinate your smokes with teammates if possible, especially Omen, since his utility is both free and effective, and you saw me do that during the buy phase. Something you'll want to note is I waited until round 4 to rush A again. This is because I don't want the opponents to stack A. With 2 rounds now, round 1 and round 4, where immediate smokes in these locations has meant a rush, a pretty strong association has been created. The opponents will likely now expect that these smoke combinations on A will result in a rush at A, and that was my goal in cementing their expectations. Okay, now let's talk about how to use your opponent's expectations to outplay them in a round. In 2 rounds, I have followed up immediate A smokes with an immediate rush, and in doing so, I plant the idea that they ought to rotate immediately when they see the smokes come down on A to counter our rush. My plan is to go to A alone as Brimstone, while my teammates silently play just outside B site. When the round starts, I throw the smokes down on A. I will then give the defenders time to leave B as they rotate to counter my rush immediately. Waiting is the crucial step most players miss, and it can ruin an otherwise perfect fake. I will then give my teammates the go-ahead, and they will likely walk into a badly or undefended B site for an easy plant as I rotate to cut off and delay the defenders. My prediction is that my opponents will rotate as soon as the smokes go down on A, or at least early. I throw a molly in for good measure, and then I wait a second before telling my teammates to go ahead. They take the site without any resistance and are planning before the defenders can even get a pick, which happens to be me. The next round I want to break down is round 7. In round 7, I decide to proceed similarly to the round I just talked about with one crucial difference. Instead of telling my B teammates to wait, I tell them to push or at least use smokes or otherwise give away their position. What this does is make my fake at A very obviously a fake. My opponents correctly perceive B to be the real attack, and you can tell that they figured this out because most of their players rotate B and they don't rotate back when I take out the singular B player after missing a shot I really should have landed. In this situation, the opponents likely think that they have outplayed my fake, but what they don't know is that I wanted them to read it. This is the sort of thing I was talking about when I mentioned leading your opponents to think that they are one step ahead when they are really two steps behind. We would not have won this round if my teammates weren't skilled. I did not incorporate anything into my strategy to help my team take B, which is absolutely a tactical error. While I was prepared to sacrifice this round to set up the next two, I certainly didn't have to, and I recommend you don't make the error I did here. One of the things that I also recommend is supporting your team by taking quick rotates after fakes. I see a lot of players try to flank around as an attacker in afterplant, which is usually too slow to do any good except clean up a round you've essentially already won. It can also lead to opponents actually defusing before you get there in a few cases, which is a risk that you don't need to run most of the time. The very next round, round 8, I used the setup I created in round 7. I plan that my opponents now believe that the smoke combo is a fake for a real attack on B, as I have led them into believing with my obvious fake in round 7. So I decide in round 8 to actually rush with the same smokes onto A. And here we get the second instance where we take site with all players on both teams still alive. The opponents, believing the smokes to signal a fake A push, actually all rotate to B, which is way more severe than I expected, but certainly welcome, and we walk in and plant uncontested. Through some smart gameplay, my teammates actually win the ensuing 2v5, and that certainly wouldn't have been possible without the pressure and time restraint created by the opponents having to all rotate from B. Although it probably would have been fine anyways if I wasn't such a terrible shot with the op on this occasion. The last round I want to talk about is round 11. You may have noticed that I stressed often throughout the video that the expectation of the defenders from immediate A smokes is to see an immediate push or a fake. In round 11, I changed something. In this round, I told my team to rush A, but to wait for the smokes to disperse before pushing. This is what is called an attack in preparation, which is a topic for a different video, but you can see the opponents were not expecting us at that exact moment at all. It seems like they had started rotating to B, and they weren't really paying much attention. My opping was really slow, and if they had been expecting us, I wouldn't have hit those shots. It's also a good thing my teammate was there to compensate for my bad aim today. We take site easily and go into afterplant. Okay, let's transition into the general concepts and takeaways about rushing and how to manage expectations that you can use beyond rushing. As you saw, managing expectations is not about just guessing around what your opponents could do, it's about leading your opponents to a certain conclusion about how you are going to play. You can then take those expectations and create that situation, the same one, but change it to counter their response. As the game progresses, you can continue to lead their expectations in different directions, but make them think that they are learning how to beat you. That is the essence of staying one step ahead of your opponents. Make them think that they are learning how to beat you, when in reality you planned it all along. If you don't change their expectations over time, but continue doing the same thing, they will eventually figure it out and start actually beating you. Your strategy should definitely develop and progress over the course of a game. And that's how to rush and manage expectations. I hope you found some value in this video. Best of luck everyone, and have a great day.